Isn't this cool? Look at these arcades. It almost feels like you're in the video game Assassin's Creed and somebody's gonna pop up from one of these buildings or from behind one of the columns. But right here, it just looks gorgeous to me and it looks very European-like, and I'm just so blessed and happy that I'm able to actually walk through this whole thing and enjoy this beautiful, beautiful place. Hey guys, and welcome to sunny California. Today we're in San Diego, and more precisely in Balboa Park, which is one of my favorite places because it's just an open space, a beautiful park. There's a lot of great locations to visit, such as museums, amphitheaters, all these beautiful, beautiful things. And yeah, we are in sunny California, so let's try to enjoy it and let's explore. Balboa Park is a 1,200-acre historic urban cultural park in San Diego, California. In addition to open space areas, natural vegetation zones, greenbelts, gardens, and walking paths, it contains museums, several theaters, and the world-famous San Diego Zoo. Here we are at the Spreckels Organ Pavilion, and yeah, it is closed, and yes, I am on stage, but usually behind there's a really, really big organ, and not just any kind of organ, it's the biggest outdoor venue with an organ in the whole world. And yeah, this is Balboa Park, so when they do have concerts, it's a really beautiful location to be listening to music. The Spreckels organ is housed in an ornate vaulted structure with highly embellished gables. Since 1917, San Diego has had a civic organist who performs free weekly Sunday concerts. This is something that I really love when I come here to Balboa Park, is the fact that everything is so well kept. Be it from the trees being pruned to the bushes being trimmed, everything is perfect. There's so much attention to detail. So if you do come here, don't just come into the park and walk through it really fast. Do take your time to enjoy and admire all the work and the landscaping that is found throughout this whole place. Balboa Park contains 350 species of plants with approximately 1,500 trees. Many of the trees were selected and planted by horticulturalist Kate Sessions, often referred to as the mother of Balboa Park. Behind me we have the House of Hospitality, which was built in 1915. It's made to look like the Baroque-style Spanish houses of the 17th century, and this is basically the central area of Balboa Park. And when you drive and park here, well, this is probably pretty much the first building that you're going to see, and it has all the touristy information that you're looking for if you're trying to get the best out of this park. The House of Hospitality was originally built for the Panama, California Exhibition in 1915 as the Foreign Arts Building. Intended to be temporary, it was changed to the House of Hospitality for the California Pacific International Exhibition in 1935. The building was demolished in the 1990s for structural reasons and later reconstructed using the original building as a model. One thing that I really do like about this House of Hospitality is the fact that you can actually go in the building, and once you go in the building you see an Andalusian style patio, which is basically an open style patio with no roof in the middle of the building going all around it. And obviously you can always enjoy the beautiful fountains and just enjoy the fresh air, but just looking at the architecture and the various sculptures that are here is always really interesting, and being able to actually go inside kind of makes it even more special because in some way you're kind of interacting with the park and the structures in it. Balboa Park is managed and maintained by the Parks and Recreation Department of the City of San Diego. Placed in reserve in 1835, the park site is one of the oldest in the United States, dedicated to public recreational use. No wonder that I'm so attracted to this park. This little section of the Balboa Park is called the Casa del Rey Morro Park, which basically was started in 1925, and they went to Europe and parts of the Mediterranean in order to get a bunch of pictures and inspiration in order to make this part of the park as authentic to Europe as possible, and I must say, it is really gorgeous. The Casa del Rey Morro Garden translates to English as House of the Moorish King Garden and was designed by Richard Vecua for the 1935 California Pacific International Exhibition and influenced by the Moorish gardens of Ronda, Spain. And yes, every time that I see a fountain, I just can't help myself. Like in a lot of my videos, I just have to highlight it. And there are quite a few little fountains here in Balboa Park. And this was a quaint little space. And yeah, I do think that the lion here that's spitting out a bunch of water is kind of cool. And no, I won't swim in that water. In front of the Casa del Rey Morro Park, there's the Prado Restaurant, which offers a charming indoor and outdoor dining experience. The unique decor blends the historical aspects of the house's hospitality and whimsical accessories inspired by the park's museum collections. This is something that is really gorgeous about this park, is the fact that they have a bunch of artwork pretty much everywhere. And after all, why wouldn't they have artwork? This is a park that is filled with so much artwork, and not just artwork, but a bunch of museums. And even though I must admit that when I do look at this kind of art, I'm not a huge fan of it because it's more modern and I'm more a fan of contemporary art, but I can actually say that at least I can, well, if I do look at it, I can kind of contemplate and imagine that it is a cool piece of artwork and I can enjoy it for what it is. Balboa Park has numerous statues throughout the park, making this park somewhat like an outdoor museum. Many of the more modern looking statues are actually part of an exhibit titled Art of the Open Air. One less modern statue that did catch my eye is the one of El Cid, which is a 23-foot bronze sculpture that recalls a medieval hero of the 11th century called El Cid. Speaking of artwork, well, there are a ton of museums right here at Balboa Park. There's actually more than just one or two. There's 17 museums total, and probably they even have a bunch of expositions and other things that I haven't even heard of. But yeah, it's crazy to think that in just this little park, there's so many different types of places, and basically can range from the Natural History Museum to science, to modern art, to contemporary art, to pretty much anything you'd ever want to visit. So yeah, when you do come to this park, you're going to be busy seeing so many things that, well, honestly, there's no way to see everything in one day. One museum that I wanted to highlight is the San Diego Museum of Art, which is a fine arts museum that houses a broad collection with particular strength in Spanish art. The Cathedral of Valladolid also influenced the museum's exterior design, and the architects derived interior motifs from the Santa Cruz Hospital of Toledo, Spain. And in this park, we don't just have museums and beautiful landscaping, we also have theaters, just like this one, which is the Old Globe Theatre. And yes, like the name says it, it's the same as the Old Globe Theatre in London, which is the theatre where William Shakespeare used to perform a lot of his plays back in the day. And yeah, it is a beautiful piece of architecture, and they have many plays all year long. And yeah, definitely a place to see, not just for the architecture, but also for the plays that they have all year long. The Old Globe Theatre was built in 1935 and was based on a copy of one built for the Chicago Century of Progress, which in turn was a copy of the Globe Theatre in London, England, where many of William Shakespeare's plays were performed during his lifetime. Like the original Globe, the theatre was open in the center with a roof over the seating on the sides. Plays are performed in 3 separate theatres in the complex, which is collectively called the Simon Edison Center for the Performing Arts. Walking through the park, it's kind of amazing to see all these beautiful and big structures. I mean, the buildings just look architecturally really interesting, and you would think that there's no way to actually visit them from inside. But most of these buildings are actually museums, so you can go in them. But obviously, because it is a museum, there is a fee to be paid to go inside each and every one of these places. But yeah, if you are interested to actually explore the architecture from inside and not just look at the park from outside, there's ways of getting in. The California Quadrangle, California Building, California Tower were built for the 1915-16 Panama California Exhibition and served as the grand entry to the expo. They were added to the National Registry of Historic Places on May 17, 1974. Here's a cool little find. There's a European flower-style garden, and I must appreciate what the landscapers did because it's just so beautiful and pristine. And yeah, a lot of the flowers haven't sprouted yet, but it's kind of nice to imagine and to think that in a couple of months everything's going to be sprouting and it's going to be luscious. But in the meantime, I'm just going to enjoy what it is for what it's for, and yeah, it is beautiful. And yes, we can always appreciate the fact that there's a fountain in pretty much every corner of this Balboa Park. I kind of lost track of how many fountains I've seen, but it must be at least a 5th or 6th, and every time I see it and every time I hear the water, I don't know, I can't explain it, but it makes me happy. There really are numerous fountains throughout the park, ranging from small decorative ones to much bigger ones. And speaking of large fountains, I did want to highlight the Bay Evanson Fountain, which was built in 1972 and designed by noted modernist architect Homer Delawy. Wait a second, I thought that they said that California was supposed to be in a drought. Well, obviously when you're in San Diego and you're in Balboa Park, drought or not, they have an abundance of water, an abundance of fountains, and this one right here is really cool looking. And I'm not really sure if they put any kind of product or not in the water, but it's super duper blue in color. and really nice to look at. But either way, whatever it is, I appreciate it for what it is, and yeah, look at it. Isn't it grand? The fountain honors Bay Evanson, who was the founding president of the park's Committee of 100, organized in the late 1960s to save or reconstruct the buildings of the Panama, California Exhibition of 1915. This is something that's always interesting to me in California, is the fact that there are sometimes bridges, and when they do bridges, they're super tall. And thinking of California, well, there's a lot of earthquakes, so you'd think that there aren't too many of these. But yes, one of the entrances to Balboa Park is on a bridge, and if you do actually stumble upon it, I would recommend going on the bridge because it has really beautiful views of the city, and you get to see the freeway in the distance. And if you are really lucky, sometimes you might actually get to see one of the planes landing in the airport of San Diego, because the San Diego airport is really close by to here. So yeah, check it out. In this park, there aren't just Western style buildings. There's actually a Japanese garden, and the entrance is right behind me. And yeah, it is closed at the moment. They have very specific hours during the day when they're open, and you do have to pay an entrance fee if you actually want to go visit it. But it is gorgeous and it is worth watching. And if you don't want to go in the garden, well, you can also go to the tea room, which has some really nice tea. And yeah, it is part of the experience, so I do think that it is worth going to. The Japanese Friendship Garden is an expression of friendship between San Diego and its sister city, Yokohama. It illustrates two cultures and creates an immersive experience into Japanese culture. This 12-acre plot is well known for its unique setting, stone arrangements, koi ponds, water features, Sukiya-style buildings, and landscape. Behind me, we have another really impressive building, and it's the Balboa Botanical Park. And apparently it's the most photographed place here in the Balboa Park. And yeah, the building itself from the outside is pretty darn impressive. And in front of it, there's a bunch of water with ducks and even some lotuses and a bunch of flowers. And it's just so beautiful to see. Unfortunately, the Botanical Garden is closed, but if you do come here during another season or when it is open, I would really gather that you should go and visit it because it's extraordinary. The Botanical Garden with the adjacent lily pond and lagoon is one of the largest lath structures in the world, featuring fascinating collections of cycads, ferns, orchids, other tropical plants, and palms. The botanical buildings also present some of the park's vibrant seasonal flower displays. Okay, that's it. This concludes my little video about the Balboa Park. I hope that you guys enjoyed going on this little adventure with me and exploring all these different places and looking at the beautiful nature and architecture that the Balboa Park offers to all the people that are coming here. Anyways, please be sure to subscribe, hit the like button, leave me a comment too, and let me know what was your favorite place right here at the park. Have a great day, and I'll see you guys in the next video.